In order to create the acrylic piece for your sign, you're going to start with a new part in SolidWorks. What I will have already done is I would have already found the image that I want to use as the base for it and saved it somewhere where I can get to it easily. Okay? I start out on my front plane, I start a sketch, and I'm going to go to Tools, Sketch Tools, and then I'm probably going to have to scroll down to find Sketch Picture. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a folder I already have open, which is on the shared drive, EHS shared drive. And bring in the logo. Now it comes in and it's usually huge. You can look over here. Okay. You want to make sure both of these check boxes are checked. But then usually what you want to do is you want to look at which measurement is the largest and set that at one of the maximums. So I'm going to set this. I'm not going to set it at 7.5. I'm going to set it at 7. Okay. You'll notice I do have some space on the other side, so it'll probably give it to me as a nice size. I can mess with this too if I want. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to exit this sketch. Okay. I want the picture on its own sketch. I do not want to do any drawing on it. That's just where the picture lives. I'm going to select the front plane again and start a second sketch. Now this time, I'm going to start drawing. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my tab that sits at the bottom. I like to do that with a center rectangle because it's easy. Okay. And I am going to draw a tab. I'm going to dimension it. It needs to be, there we go. It needs to be 3 inches wide, exactly. And it needs to be 1/2 inch tall. Now, one of the things you can do is then you can use your smart dimension to locate it by its center. So if I want the center centered in this picture, I can go from the origin to the center point sideways and put it at 3.5 because that's half of 7. And now the other thing I can do is I can move this around. So I'm going to move it down and exaggerate it a little bit. And then I'm going to give it a vertical measurement. I'm just going to use 0.25. I think that looks like nice spacing between the image and that. So it gives it a little bit of lift off the very base and looks good. I'm going to go ahead and click the top line and change it to be for construction. Okay. I don't want to delete it. I just want it to be there so it keeps all of the relationships there. I just don't want it to cut or that to be part of it. Now, what a lot of people like to do is they like a nice soft little outline on their image. And the way we do that is with a spline. Okay, so I'm going to select the spline tool. I'm going to start on the very edge. I'm going to kind of come up and curve into it to pick up this lip shape. If you double click twice, which is what I accidentally did, it'll stop your spline, which is good to know for later. But if we just want it to keep going, we just keep clicking. If it does happen to stop before you're done, just pick the spline up again, go to your endpoint, and keep going. I don't know why it wanted to stop after that, but that's okay. This one actually was a good place for it to stop because what I want is a little bit more of a point there to follow along with what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom out here. And as you can see, I can bend it just by what the next point I click is. And this one I didn't make too much of a corner there, so just so you can see the difference. But there are going to be some times where you really do want to make a corner. And like I said, I don't know why mine's being temperamental and keeps wanting to stop, but I'm going to actually stop for just a second here and show you you can adjust these points, and you could also adjust the curve. So like that one curved where I didn't really want it to. So I'm going to adjust the curve and the point location before I continue so I don't end up with kind of a weird little hook there. And then I'm going to keep going. And again, if I want to, I can double click and then start again to create something more like a point. Don't know why it stopped there, but it did. And we'll keep tracing until we get to the back side. And I'm going to again do this a little bit more round, unless it forces me to stop, which that one just did. Just to finish. There we go. And once I've completely enclosed it, that's fine. Now, obviously, if this was my project, I would come back and I would make some adjustments to like this line here, okay, and various points along the way. But you can adjust your spline so you get the outline that you're looking for, okay? Now, in theory, this should all be an enclosed shape. I should be able to exit my sketch, hit extrude. It is not wanting to. It's trying to force the thin feature, which means I've got a gap somewhere. All right, well, let's exit my sketch or edit my sketch, see if we can figure out what the problem is. Looks like it's well attached. This one's got a weird little hook. We're going to turn that down. Make sure there's no places where my spline accidentally goes over itself. That looks good. That looks good. I don't know why stuff's going weird, but that's okay. It's good to have that sort of stuff in the video. We're going to try extruding this again. Let's go 0.125. There we go. Don't know why it was wanting me to select the contour, but that's fine. Okay, I've then got this gray part. If I go to material and change it to ABS-PC, I get kind of a transparent looking part. I can also hide the sketch to kind of see what just the plastic part would look like. So this is all well and good. I can now make a drawing from this. It does want me to save it. So in my sign, I'm going to save this as my and I just want to go to a custom sheet size, leave it whatever it is, and bring in the front view of my part. Now, I really only need the front view, so what I want to do is make sure it is set at 1:1, and I've got the front view of my part. Okay. When I do this, I'm going to file. I'm going to go save as. I'm going to change the file type to a DXF right there and hit save. Okay. At this point, I am done with SolidWorks. I'll open CorelDRAW. Once CorelDRAW opens, I'll say new from template. I'll pick my laser engraver template. I'm going to file import. I'm going to go find that DXF, import it at 1:1, making sure my sizes look about right, and I will bring them in, put them in the corner. Change my pen so that it is the RGB red. And hairline. That way that's a cut. Now, as you can see, it does not come in with the sketch picture. This is why we saved the picture in a separate folder, so that I can grab that picture and bring it in again. Now, you're likely to have to do some lining up and resizing. The nice part is since they both allow you to set the width, you should be able to set that width measurement again. Okay. And then if you use your arrow keys, you should be able to kind of bump it back into place. Okay. Now, you might remember that the engraver only works really on the black-white spectrum. So you might, if it's a color picture, desaturating it gives you better control over that. And you can also do adjustments on the brightness, contrast, and intensity. So you can see what sort of effect that might have on it, brightening or that sort of stuff, the various colors to get a bigger difference. Now, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to highlight the entire thing and you're going to flip it horizontally, okay? The reason you want to do that is you want all of this etching and engraving on the backside. That is why you want to flip it horizontally, okay? Once this is done, this file is ready to be saved in your LabShare folder and run on the laser engraver.